Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about a lizard figure, which I believe is from the Everquest line, which is supposed to be a spellcaster or some sort of a shaman or something. I'm not 100% positive because I've never played Everquest. I simply bought the figure because I'm a big fan of Anthro characters, and I thought it was pretty darn cool, and I think I also got a good price on it. Now this is an action figure in only the most broad definition of that term, because you have articulation in the wrist, a little articulation in this arm, again articulation in the wrist, a little articulation line, and they can in fact do the funky chicken, or he can do the funky chicken. But other than that, you don't have any more articulation in this figure. So calling it an action figure is broad. I would just call it a figure. But having said that, as in, you know, you can't really do a whole lot with posing or such with this figure. This is some incredibly good sculpting. It really is. I'm not 100% sure what these braids are supposed to be, because, you know, most lizards don't have hair, but maybe it's just the hair of his enemies. I don't know, I have any idea. But it's kind of cool looking as a headdress goes. Particularly, you have this gold piece in the back that comes down, and you get this really nice shoulder piece, which is very well painted. I really like that green scroll work against the black background, and then this bronzy kind of gold accents there. The scales are very well done. They really give you the impression of overlapping, and the hinges are very well hidden. They're not really obnoxious in any way. They blend nicely into the overall sculpture. You can't even tell about the wrist, which is a nice touch, because, well, it's greatly helped by the wristbands themselves. This one I happen to like because it has that the bracer look, and you have this chest piece, which reminds me of some things I've seen worn by Native Americans, which is probably not a mistake. They probably did that intentionally. And you have a nice belt with a buckle and an interesting fringe. You get the impression these are like metal ingots, bronze. Then you have skulls, which are small. And while you can shrink heads, you can't really shrink skulls. So is this guy like 30 feet tall, or was he preying upon a very small race of humanoids that had, you know, heads the size of my fist, smaller than my fist actually, because they're smaller than his fist? So I'm not really sure why that was done that way, but it was very well executed. I mean, you really get the impression that these, so for example, that skull right there is like in the folds of his loincloth. That really does work well. And the loincloth itself is very well executed. I'm going to give you an upskirt shot here, and that is that detailing in there is excellent. Particularly seeing is that you're never gonna actually see that for the most part when this figure's standing. Yet they took the trouble to make sure the sculpting was done completely, and the tail sculpting and texturing was very well done. Then you have this again, this more of a mantle, I guess. Would you call this a mantle or a robe? Because it really doesn't cover a whole lot of his body. You know, it's really just decoration mostly. Maybe a symbol of office. But it has, look at these folds. I mean, look at those folds, man. Those are really well done. It looks like someone who has a tail is wearing this fabric. And you get the impression from here that kind of echoes the ridges here, which are raised. Again, very good sculpting. And then you have a shoulder bag, which has not only very nice articulation as far as the, not articulation, but detailing as far as the buckle is concerned. Look at that. That looks like a real buckle. That looks like a strap, and these are the links you use so that the thing doesn't twist on you, it doesn't get bound up. This person really took the time to make this look good. And then you have the pouch itself, which looks like a shoulder bag, and a nice little tassel here. I quite like that, and the metal ring around the little grommet essentially is very well done. And of course, then you have that wonderful face. Look at that face. Nice frilling here. Almost gives you the impression of ears, even though the ears would be just holes in the sides of a head on something like this. And then you have the jaws. Look at that. It's right in there, and it just looks really nice. And of course, the eyes are very well done. You get the impression of not only irises, but the slits themselves. Just an excellent figure. And it stands up reasonably well. It's You got a little bit of forward lean there, but I had it up on display for years, and it never gave me any problems as far as falling forward was concerned. But it's not the most rock solid setup I've ever seen. And I believe this is the staff it came with. I am not 100% sure for that. It fits really well, but I've been known to collect little accessories over the years, so I don't actually know if that staff came with the guy. But it is very appropriate. It very much does look like a rod more, or a staff. It's a little small for a staff, more of a magical rod of some variety that a shaman or a mage would use in ritual magic. And the top up here is a nice little crystal, because you can actually see through it, which is nice. It's translucent, transparent, I should say. Again, overall, an excellent figure. I was really thrilled when I saw this in the store. When I remember when I first picked it up, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome looking," and my opinion hasn't changed. It is still awesome looking, and I'm glad that it's in my collection. Just beautifully executed. Whoever is the sculptor of this piece out there should be justifiably proud.